Now, I don't want to pigeonhole you as a Jet guy because I know you really know the game of football and you know the draft. So we're going to spend these next couple of hours really diving into all aspects of the draft, how teams handle it, and how other teams may handle this draft coming up this year. And we're going to talk to Rich Cimini and also from the New York Jets, ESPNNewYork.com. Dan Graziano will also join us from ESPNNewYork.com, get the perspective of the Jets and the Giants, what's going to be happening. Steve Young is going to join us at 5 o'clock.
Oh, great.
I don't know how well you know Steve, but he is a lot of fun to talk to.
Yeah, I've listened to him enough times, and I know him well, and certainly have tremendous respect. That was you'd love to have him on your football team. He was such a great player.
But I'll tell you what, since we had Henry Hynoski kind of focusing on the Giants in that first hour, let's focus right now on the Jets. And is there a need that pops up into your mind more so than the other? Is it wide receiver over corner, corner over wide receiver? How do you look at it?
I think if you had looked at it last year with the depletion that they had in their offensive skill personnel, you would have said that they're going to go wide receiver, tight end. But I think since what's taken place at the end of the year and after the season last year, I think they have a real need at the cornerback position. Remember, we talked a lot last year, Don, you and I, just the fact that feeling that the Jets' defense was in essence overrated and that they didn't always meet up to expectations. I like the interior, but the fact that, and if you take a look at the schedule, in a row, the Jets face Aaron Rodgers, Jay Cutler, Matt Stafford, Phillip Rivers, Peyton Manning, and Tom Brady.
Yeah,
with Dee Milner and Kyle Wilson. I think they've got to get a corner.
Yeah, they have to.
I think they have to get a corner.
And you figure since they, and I think the Giants overpaid for Rodgers Cromartie, so I understood why the Jets didn't go there. And you could make a case that Revis wasn't going to sign a one-year deal with the Jets.
You could make
but
that.
Did you look at that as a tell that they didn't go after a free agent corner because they know they can get that in the draft?
Well, that's a good point. And I'm not sure they can get the guy they want in the draft. To me, there's two that they have to get. You've got Darquise Dennard from Michigan State and Justin Gilbert from Oklahoma State. Now, I know that I believe they like Gilbert a little bit better, although I kind of favor Dennard. I like he's a little more physical. They're almost the same size. But after that, there's a drop-off. Now, if you could get one of those two guys, which I've seen so many draft workups, and some of them show that they'll be available. Someone will be available. But if they're not, then I see the Jets in a little bit of trouble. On the other side, to the point that you made, I'm not quite sure that when the season was over, I don't believe that deep down inside they felt they were going to lose Cromartie. I think there's just my opinion, and talking to different guys, I think they felt they were going to be able to keep him. And they didn't. So there's a void there that they have to fill tonight.
Do you think the Giants overpaid for Rodgers Cromartie? I threw that out there, but do you agree that was a lot of money to spend on him?
It's a lot of money, but in that position, that's a tough one. And I honestly don't know all the workings that they have in their ball club, their own salary cap. That's something, I would say that's almost a thing that, I'd love to sit down with them and say, okay, why did you feel this was okay? Show me the figures. And I'm sure they can do that. So in that regard, I would have to say no in that regard. It seems like a lot, but, these guys do their homework.
Right.
And they've got to do a good job with it.
Well, what makes sense for the Giants might not necessarily make sense for the Jets.
Exactly correct.
So that's why you can't freak out. They're not connected. Just because the Giants overpaid doesn't mean that if the Jets had done the same thing, it would have necessarily been the right thing to do.
And keep in mind, these are some coaching staffs that even though that with Tom obviously has 2 Super Bowl rings in his pocket and has done a tremendous job, but there's a lot of pressure there. There's a lot of pressure on those staffs and tremendous pressure on Rex. So, they're looking at, we have to win now. How do we do that? And that's an interesting dichotomy, but sometimes between coaches and scouts.
What's interesting, you just said that we have to win now. Where you're going to draft a corner, likely, who's going to have an excellent chance to start. Right?
I think he's going to start.
Right. So you're going to have a rookie corner starting alongside a second-year corner.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct.
You're going to have at least one rookie wide receiver, right? New running back.
Yes.
Tell me how Vic's not winning this job. Right, think about it. If you were in a must-win situation, if Vic is healthy, doesn't he give you a better chance to win now?
It's a really good point. I was out there. I was at the Jets camp a couple weeks ago and spent a pretty good bit of time with Gino. And when I walked out of there after I had talked to everybody almost in the building, I spent a lot of time with Marty Morningweg. I spent a good bit of time with Rex, and I personally talked with Gino a pretty good bit. I came away with the impression, this is just my impression, that Geno Smith was the quarterback. but Michael Vick was right behind him. And the fact that Michael has that familiarity with this offense, because he had played for Marty Morningweg, and he knows this system, it's going to be a dogfight, and there's no telling how this is going to go. I think it's a very interesting training camp. But you bring up a lot of reasons why, because they are throwing a lot of new things together. A lot of new. There's going to be another tight end. They already have Chris Johnson, the running back. They've got Decker. They've got Ford. They're going to add at least another receiver. So there's a lot of new parts. And does that lead to Michael Vick? Maybe it does. But I still believe that as of today, I think Geno Smith's their quarterback. But we'll see what happens. That's how I felt.
Now, can you say to Geno, listen, we still believe in you, but we're going to want you to back up Michael Vick? I mean, that's a tough thing. You're saying one thing and doing another, right?
I think what will happen, during camp, I believe Geno Smith will start. He'll be the initially.
Right. I agree with that.
He'll be the initial starter. If Michael Vick beats him out, that's the way it's going to go. And then Geno's going to have to live with it.
Now, Vick's got his problems, turns the ball over, and he gets hurt. But if Vick plays to the best of his ability and Smith plays to the best of his ability, then you got to figure Vick's going to have a distinct advantage because he's been around longer. Can a second-year Geno Smith beat out Michael Vick at his best?
No, that's a good question, and it's a good point. Is Michael Vick going to be at his best?
We don't know.
I think he has an opportunity if he can stay healthy, because he does go back to a system where he did have some success. A couple years ago, in that first half of the year at Philadelphia, he was as good a quarterback as there was in the NFL. He was lighting it up. And then he got banged up, and, we all know the things that happened. So I think in that regard, the Jets made a prudent move to create this competition. I'm a believer in this. In all the years I was in training camps, unless you've got Dan Marino or guys like that, you need to create competition. That's how the guy's going to get better. There's no question in my mind. Nick Folk became a much better kicker because of how he was pressured every year. And I think the Jets are trying to do that.